What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Kylie and today I'm gonna go through my mid-year book tag. Okay, and it's actually crazy saying this because what? The year's halfway over? When? So I'm gonna answer 10 questions in this video about how my first half of the year has been going book-wise. I am going to say, disclaimer, okay? The girl mentally, I need something because I mentally have been just like going down the rabbit hole of just not doing okay, and I'm trying to sort out my life so I am doing okay eventually. So I'm gonna try to be my chipper self in this video, but if I am not, I am so sorry. Number 2, it is a really windy day for some reason. I don't know what happened. Somewhere must have had a freaking thunderstorm that was really bad and now we're getting after effects of it. I don't know, but it came out of nowhere because the last like 4 days have been dry. Hot and dry. So I don't really know what's going on, but if you hear anything, it's the wind. Anyway, now we're gonna get into this video. So the first question is, what is the best book I have read in 2024? So for me, the best book that I have read in 2024, I actually read it in January of 2024, and that's A Little Life, because boy, did this book do something to me. Like I finished reading this book and I was a different person. I felt changed somehow. Like I was not regular Kai, kind of like left the building and this new me appeared, because this book, everything about it was just so good. It was written fabulously, okay, like amazingly. Do you see these? Yeah, that's because that's how good it was written. Alright, the quotes in here, the things that these people went through, I don't know how people can like just come up with some things like this, because this book was so realistic and it just touched my soul in so many ways. Of course I cried throughout this entire book. The whole thing, cried, shedded so many tears, sobbed so many times. It's pretty much about 4 friends who get out of college and they just experience life together, and some of them, most of them, don't have the best life experiences. They just go through it together. And one person is like an addict, another person is, I forgot his name, but he's like, his whole life was crazy and he's just been hurt really badly, so it kind of affected his adulthood. And I probably wouldn't want to reread this book because I don't want to go through those emotions again, but I would want to reread this book because it was so damn good. But this was my best book that I read in January, and I think it was actually like the 4th book that I read this year, and it's still the best. That's how great it is. All the other books I read, this is still the best book. Question number 2 is, best sequel you read so far? Now, this was tricky for me. This is really tricky because apparently I haven't read that many series this month, or year. I haven't read that many series this year, and the best sequel was hard because a lot of the series that I have been reading, I haven't been liking the sequels. So like the first book is better to me, or the 3rd book is better to me than the sequel. So this one was hard, but I think at the end of the day I ended up choosing Unravel Me. And it's funny because this is literally the last series that I picked up, so like all the other series I've been reading was just like meh. I think we already know, I've touched on this book a few times already and gave out all of my experiences. I think this is the best one, even though this one still wasn't a 5 stars. I don't know what's going on with me and reading a series right now. Hopefully the next half of the year I could read more series, but I also want to finish all the series that I'm in. So there's that, but I'm gonna try my best to read more series for the next half of the year, because this isn't right. Even for this book, it was good, but to me I don't think it was my best, but it's all I got for this year. The 3rd question is, new releases I haven't read but really want to. So I have 3 books for this answer, okay? I haven't read The Housemaid is Watching. That's a new release, like very recently released, and I really want to read it. And then I haven't read The Familiar, I believe it's called, and I also really want to read that. I've just been hearing great things about it, and I'm like, I gotta see what it's about. And then the third one that I haven't read is The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Yeah, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I haven't gotten to read yet. I've heard very, very mixed reviews. So if you have read it, please comment down below what you think about it, because I'm not sure if I should put energy in the book if I'm not going to enjoy it fully, because it might be good, but if I'm not gonna fully enjoy it. But I do like all of her other books that she's written, so I don't know. Maybe I might enjoy it. So the fourth question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now, I don't know about you, but I have two. Okay, I was gonna have three, but I couldn't think of a third one. But I know the first one for sure is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. I am so excited for it, like beyond excited. I read 3 of his books now, and the Somewhere Beyond the Sea is the second book to, what is it called? I'm looking at it, I just can't see the name. I need glasses, y'all. Okay, yeah, so it's the second book to The House in the Carillion Sea. And I read that, I think that was my first book that I read by him. And then I read Under the Whispering Door, or I read In the Lives of the Puppets and then Under the Whispering Door. One of those came second, I'm not sure. But this one is the second one too, In the Carillion Sea, and I really, really enjoyed that book. Even though I read that book like almost 2 years ago, I still can say it's one of my favorites thus far of his. I'm really excited to get to that one. I don't know if you know, but check out TJ Klune because I really like that author. It's like a very comforting reading. Like you just want to like sit by the fireplace and just like make you some hot cocoa and have some nice piano lo-fi playing in the back, and it's just so cozy, and I love reading his books. And the second one that I really want to read is The Grandest Game. If I'm not mistaken, it is in The Inheritance Game. It's the 5th book, which is really crazy because I thought it was going to end with the brothers Hawthorns, but it didn't, and I'm okay with that. And the Inheritance Games is just like puzzles that these brothers have to solve, and then their grandfather dies, and now a new girl is added to the games because the grandfather kind of left all his money in his will to this girl, and yeah, it goes off like that. So I'm really excited to get to it because I kind of forgot actually what the last book ended off with, but I know it ended off with a twist of some sort that I can't say that because that's a spoiler. So just know that I am also very, very anticipated into reading that one too. Okay, so number 5 is what book is my biggest surprise? So I have 2 answers for that. I have an answer that is really, really good, and I have an answer that's really, really bad. So let's just get bad out of the way first, okay? So for me, the biggest surprise that I didn't like was Shadow and Bone. I know, I don't know why. It didn't click with me. Like, I enjoyed this book. It wasn't a 5 stars. I think I rated it a 4 at the time being, but now that I look back on it, it's kind of a 3 for me. I never talk about this book. I tried watching the show after I was done. Nothing resonated with me, okay? I just could not get into this book, and I don't know why. Something about it just wasn't keeping my attention all the way. It was just like, I was reading it to just understand what everyone was talking about. Like, after halfway, I was like, okay. But it had good points. Like, it had good moments in the book to where I was like, oh, this is actually really good. And then, but now I haven't thought about this book since I put it on my shelf. So yeah, this book unfortunately wasn't my favorite, and I was kind of really surprised that it wasn't my favorite and low-key disappointed. Now for the good surprise, and I was like, whoa, wow, I love this book. Now mind you, I already knew I was gonna like it because it had a gaming aspect, and I am a gamer. This baby right here I have built. Okay, so I am a gamer, and that is tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Now, when I tell you I love this book, but I know a lot of people just didn't like this book because of the main character and the way she was acting and whatnot, but I really loved it. This book and how it described the gaming aspects and the gaming world of building a game, and I felt like I can see the water right there. Like, yeah, I can see that. Like, yeah, that's some nice. I want to go swim in that water right now. So, but that being said, this was my biggest surprise because I knew I was gonna enjoy it. I didn't think I was going to love it, but I did. So if you haven't read this book yet because it was getting so hyped up and talked about on TikTok and everywhere, just give it a shot. Especially if you enjoy gaming. I say give it a shot. So the sixth question is, who are my new favorite authors? And so far, because I can't really say, oh, this is my new favorite author, this is my new favorite author, because I haven't read that many books by the same authors recently, the first half of the year at least. But who I am gonna say is, and I think this is no surprise if you watched any of my last like 3 videos, is Maisie Eddings, because I loved her book Late Bloomer. I don't know why I didn't bring it up here, but I'm not gonna go get it. So it's right here. It was so great. I loved everything. If you really want to know how I loved that book, go and watch my May wrap up because I explain in great details of why I love that book. But she is now an author that is my new favorite, and like I'm gonna look out for more of her books because I feel like I'm going to really vibe with her storytelling and the way she writes and everything. And then the second one is Tahira Tahira, but the writer of Shatter Me I think is also my new favorite. Yeah, even though I didn't really like Unravel Me that much, I think that's just a given. I don't really like sequels that much versus the first book. But I haven't read another book by her yet, but I'm guessing that if I read the book that I just got, and I think that's called The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros, if I read that and really enjoy it, then I'm gonna put Rebecca Yarros onto that list, because I have to. I loved Fourth Wing. So to the next question is new fictional crushes. So I have 2. I have 2. And the first one, as we talk about Rebecca Yarros, is Xaden. It has to be Xaden. Oh my god. Xaden can call me up at any time of the night and I'll go save you. I'll go save you. I think this is one of my new favorite fictional crushes, like, thus far out of all the books that I read. I would have, just side note, I would have said Pepper and Late Bloomer, but I feel like I talk about that book too much. So we're gonna go with Xaden. Okay, it was very hard. It was very tough. But I think I'm gonna go with Xaden. Yeah, he was just grungy and mysterious, pit bull dog vibes, but like once you're with him, he's like an undercover golden retriever that just wants to be with you and do things with you and other things that I am not going to mention on this channel. He was just so dope. He just wanted her to take care of her, but also wanted her to be her own woman and do her own things, and I just loved him in this book. And then once one of my friends sent me the fan art, I was like, And then the second one that I cannot ever forget. And it's funny because I haven't talked about this book yet because I actually just finished it a few days ago. Miles in Funny Story. Absolutely adored this book, man. Miles in Funny Story was giving me everything I could hope for in a fictional crush. Okay, he was just so caring. His communication skills need a little work, but that's okay. I can, we can work through that. But everything else was just so, he was just so genuine and so sweet. And like his banter was hilarious, and he actually cared to listen to what she had to say. She could talk about books for hours or about the library for hours, and he was just still, you can tell in his, like, I'm saying in his face, like, I've seen this man You can tell in his words on the page that he was really interested and he was really ingesting everything that she was saying to him and not just being like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then the things that they would just talk about like out of the thin blue air was just like so sweet and cute. And then the banter was just so sweet and cute. Like everything I could... If I could find Miles today, I would die happy. I would die happy. I am not even lying. Now, number 8. A book that made you cry. Now, obviously, I would technically have A Little Life right here, but because I kind of answered it already for another question, I am going to choose All the Bright Places. Now, this book made me cry like a little baby. I'm not lying. Look at these tabs. Yeah, I was crying like a baby to this, and I have a video on here of me crying, and it's like right here somewhere. I just felt for these characters so hard, and I understand like being a teenager back in those days, way back when I was a teenager, and feeling things like that, and I get it, you know, it just touched my soul, and there were so many beautiful quotes in this book that I can't even start by saying them all because there's too many. Like I would just, if I start, I'm gonna just keep going. I watched the movie, took me a while, but the movie was just as beautiful. And then a book that made me really happy. Now I was looking through my bookshelves and I was like, which books made me really extremely happy? And I couldn't really find one except for Funny Story. And I know, I just said it, I know where you're going. Yes, I said I'm not going to use a book that I've already answered for a question. Yes, I know, I just said that. I fibbed this much, okay, because I had to. Funny Story made me extremely happy to read. Like, I was giggling from that book from the moment that I opened it, and I didn't stop giggling until the moment that I closed it. That's kicking my feet, giggling, all that, okay? On the train station looking silly. Yes. Right? And I did not care not one bit. So I have to put it on there. But if I was trying to stick to what I said, then I will go ahead and say Things We Never Got Over. Yeah, if I wouldn't say Funny Story, I would say that book. But Funny Story right now has my heart and my soul. So technically it would be Funny Story. Just saying. The last question is the most beautiful book that I have brought. This one's tough because I was thinking like, you mean beautiful in the sense of like visual, or you mean beautiful in the sense of like emotional beauty? I was going back and forth because if we're talking emotional beauty, I would personally have to say All the Bright Places, but then I already used that book. So then if we're talking visual, I would have to obviously go with Five Broken Blades. This is one of the most beautiful books that I own to this day, okay? It is the most beautiful book that I definitely bought in 2024 because if we weren't going from 2024, I would probably have picked up my like special edition Harry Potter books because I think those are absolutely gorgeous, alright? Because not only is the front cover beautiful, alright now, but this is beautiful too. Oh, get out of here. And it doesn't end there. That's when I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely the most beautiful book that I own to this day. Because it doesn't end there. It goes on to just be more beautiful. And then it goes on. Like, you can't tell me that this isn't beautiful. No one can tell me that. I'm sorry. If you try to comment and be like, nah, that shit's trash, I'm coming for you. Okay, I'm coming for you. I have yet to read this book, so I'm putting it back in its nice little sleeve. And those are all my questions. I'm just gonna end this video off with a few little measly stats, okay? This year my reading goal is to read 85 books. Technically, I boosted that up to 90 books because I don't know, I didn't like the way 85 looked. I didn't change it on my reading challenge. It still says 85, but in my mind I already know that I wanted to do 90. And I have already read 52 books. And we're just touching the mid of this year. And that's insane to me. I would not, if you asked me a year ago, Kai, how many books you think you're gonna read in 2024? And I would have probably said 50 most likely, but I have read 52 already. That's surpassing my half goal. So that's really nice. That's really, really nice to see. So yeah, that's it. Please comment down below if you have read any of these books, if you feel any of the same ways that I feel about any of the questions that I just answered, and if you feel opposite of the way that I answered these questions, please let me know down below. Comment. Let's have a conversation. I love talking to you guys, okay? So whenever I get the chance to talk, whenever you guys want to comment, you know? But this was really fun. I am glad I got to see this tag by a few different people. I'm gonna just pop them up here because everyone deserves their little credit when credit is due. You know what I mean? And credit is due. So thank you to all of these people who did do the book tag or did do the mid-year book tag that I got to see and that inspired me to do this video. So I'm gonna go now. I appreciate you so much, and I hope I get to see you or you get to see me in another video. Later.